The history of Vietnam stretches back almost 5,000 years. On several occasions a vassal state of China and later a French colony, it was not until the middle of the 20th century that Vietnam gained its independence. Initially separated into two parts, the country was reunited in 1976. While still a communist country, Vietnam initiated social and economic reforms under the Doi Moi policy in the second half of the 1980s. Despite its long history, Vietnam is a relatively young nation and only recently has taken up the challenge of combining traditional culture with modernity. It is with this dichotomy in mind that I'm going to take you on a journey to discover a country that is ever evolving. The origins of Vietnam are linked to the Viet or Kinh people who inhabited the Red River Delta. Today they comprise the country's main ethnic group. And so it is here in Can Tho that my journey begins. The river has always played a central role in trade and exchange. It's a way of life that has reclaimed its former importance since the end of communism. People live and work on boats. Merchants ply the delta and sales are made directly from one boat to another. According to legend, the Viet people were born of the love of Lo Quo, born of fire, and of Lord Laquan Quang, born of water. They begot 100 children. But water and fire could not remain together for long, so Laquan Quang and O Ko decided to separate. 50 children followed their mother to the mountains. 50 children followed their father to the sea. The latter founded the kingdom of Van Long in the delta of the Red River. For the Vietnamese, this semi-legendary dynasty that appeared 5,000 years ago was the origin of the Viet people.
I come from Kinhs province. I've bbeen living in Can Tho, city of rivers and canals, for 10 years now. The boat is my shop. I buy local produce and I sell it from my boat. People from here didn't do that until we arrived. It works pretty well. I make a small profit, enough to live on nicely. Living on the water is not always practical. The boat rocks when you're trying to sleep. Yes, life's quite hard on the water. The worst thing is the confined living space. We only have a few square meters on our small boat. I don't want to live like this for the rest of my life. And apart from the discomfort, it also poses health problems. Your legs get weak from not getting enough exercise. We don't do much walking on the boat. Sometimes I stagger the first 10 meters when I'm back on dry land.
I leave Can Tho and head for the economic center of the country, Ho Chi Minh City. It is far larger than the capital, Hanoi. It was formerly called Saigon until 1975. Once a little fishing village on the Saigon River, the town grew into the largest port in the region in the 17th century. Its influences come the Khmer, the Chinese, and the French. The modern city has experienced a chaotic development, and today modern buildings rub shoulders with those of the past. Scooters continuously speed through the city. Today, General Tran Hung Dao, the man who stopped the invasion of the Yuan Mongols in the 13th century, is surrounded by the headquarters of the largest companies in the country. Tran Viet Duc is at home in this orderly crowd. For years he's been roaming the streets with his camera in his hand. He photographs the ever-evolving city and immortalizes its people.
I've been taking pictures in the small streets of Saigon for more than 10 years now. At first it was for the media. The city grew out of these alleyways, you know. They are the heart of the city. This is the Som Chiu market, a large food market. It's in a popular area of Saigon. I love it. It's lively here. It's full of fresh produce. You can get fruit and vegetables from all over the country. The prices are much lower here than in the other markets. People are friendly. For me, as a photographer, it's heaven. In Saigon, everyone lives outside. Everything happens in the street, unlike in Western society where life is very closed. I love coming here to take pictures. Every time I discover new things about my own culture. Saigon was developed by Chinese migrants under Lord Nguyen and his high-ranking Mandarin. He was General Lê Văn Duyệt. Saigon is a city of migrants, created by migrants. There's a Vietnamese saying, it goes, when the earth is welcoming, the birds come to stay.
Tran takes us to a place he loves, the Phun Song Buddhist Pagoda. Dating from the very beginning of the 19th century. It was a stage on the Mandarin Road. This route, opened in the 19th century, allowed officials to cross the country from the south to the Chinese border in the north. Over 1,700 kilometers long, it links the cities of Ho Chi Minh, Da Nang, Hue, and Hanoi. Along the route are many temples, palaces, and pagodas that served as stops along this long journey.
This is one of the most beautiful Chinese pagodas in Saigon. I love coming here. It's calm, beautiful, and spiritual. This pagoda helps me get rid of all my stress, sadness, and anger. I feel good here. The pagoda is near a market, and it's also on the Mandarin Road. It's really beautiful. There's a certain light here that I love. It's great for photos.
From Chinese Saigon to a globalized city, everywhere you look, you can see the influences of the different cultures that ruled the country. Since its shift to a mixed market economy, Vietnam has developed rapidly. The country is now ready to take on the challenge of modernity. With 95 million inhabitants and a literacy rate of 97%, a legacy from the communist period. I arrive in the city of Da Nang. It's the fourth largest city in Vietnam, with almost 1 million inhabitants. With its recent economic growth, it makes it one of the country's most attractive cities. In Da Nang, there's another example of how Vietnamese architecture adapts to modernity while retaining its own traditional and cultural heritage. This bridge that spits fire and water is an attraction for the city's inhabitants who gather here once night has fallen. This is Oi An. The town is waking up and dancers rehearse to the tune of communist songs. Vietnam broke with the socialist economy in the 1980s with the Doi Moi reforms. But it remains closely tied to communism. The Communist Party is the largest in the country. Communism had ideologically erased gender roles. But today, all the stalls in the Oi An market are run by women. Society has become more polarized. Men and women have increasingly differentiated roles. Dance is an integral part of the country's culture and history. It's a reflection of Vietnamese life, portrayed through gracious and elegant movements, sometimes with hats and fans. These codified dances affirm cultural and social identity. Cham dances are incredibly rich. A drum keeps the tempo and marks the dancer's movements. Today, the Cham people are a minority. There aren't many of us. That's why I want to preserve our traditional culture. I mostly teach young people in villages and in schools so that they don't forget their original culture. Youngsters can learn modern dances like hip-hop if they want to, but they mustn't turn their backs on their own culture, or as Chams will disappear. As night falls, the city turns into a festival of lights. Traditional lanterns blend in with the lights from the more modern buildings and shopping streets. This stems from an ancestral custom. On the 14th day of the lunar month, the city turns off the streetlights and bans motor vehicles from the center. It is then only lit by the lanterns. This is the moment for the Vietnamese to honor their ancestors. A few kilometers away is the Mai Son Sanctuary. This temple marks the apogee of the Cham civilization. The Cham, or Champa civilization, was a Buddhist state situated in the center of Vietnam. The Cham people probably arrived by sea from Malaysia, settled in Vietnam, and formed a state that lasted from the 2nd to the 17th century.
Mà ở miền Trung nó có một cái di tích nổi tiếng gọi là di tích Sa Huỳnh.
French archaeologists discovered a civilization they called Sa Huỳnh, with vestiges all along the coast of central Vietnam. Here we're at the My Son Sanctuary in the province of Quang Nam. This civilization began around 300 BC and lasted until AD 100. After that, the Champa kingdoms appeared. In the 15th century, a decisive event precipitated the decline of Cham. The war, led by King Lê Thanh Thong, and his victory over the Chams put an end to the Cham kingdom.
chúng ta đang đứng trước một cái tháp gọi là tháp B5.
We're standing in front of the tower B5,
kiến trúc của Bỉ Sơn.
a Cham architectural masterpiece built in the 10th century.
Khoảng đầu thế kỷ thứ 10 á. Nó mang những cái yếu tố
It demonstrates the Cham ingenuity and technical expertise in brick construction.
tiêu biểu cho cái kỹ thuật xây dựng bằng gạch của người Champa. Thì mà chúng ta cũng qua cái tháp này chúng ta thể học được cái kỹ thuật.
Here's an example.
Cái tháp gạch của người Cham. Thì mình nhìn thấy ở trên cái lớp gạch này nè.
The bricks here have been cemented with such precision that you can't even see the joint,
là họ làm một cái loại dầu cây,
which is made of Dipterocarpus slatus.
Người ta là cây dầu rái, thì người ta lại dán hai cái viên gạch lại.
It's an endemic tree.
Cái loại dầu nhựa cây như vậy. Và cái nhựa cây đó thì đặc biệt là nó chống thấm, cho nên là nước nó không có thâm nhập qua cái lớp rễ cây.
This sap seals the joints and protects them from water.
Cái viên gạch. Cho nên nó tạo nên một cái độ bền.
That's why this 1,000-year-old tower is still so solid and in such good condition.
Tức là đã gần tới 1.000 năm rồi nhưng mà nó còn rất là bền vững như là cái nguyên trạng của nó. Vì thế cho nên là Mỹ Sơn nó trở thành một trong những cái
Mission became the biggest and most important religious and spiritual center in the Cham kingdoms. Today, after so many years of war, there are only 68 structures left. However, they're still typical of Cham civilization. Cham culture has strongly influenced modern Vietnamese culture. Even if Champa is no longer a political entity, its culture persists in one form or another, and it's particularly exciting for anyone studying regional cultures.
At Oi An Station, I board a train that's very special to the Vietnamese. This train connects the two parts of Vietnam that were connected after the war. Today it symbolizes the reconciliation between the North and the South. Nguyen Phan Thi is the chief conductor. For 21 years he's worked for the Vietnamese Railways.
Being a railwayman is a profession, as well as being the pride and joy of me and my family. Do you see the scenery from this window? This train crosses the entire country, different regions with different cultures.
Là trải nghiệm những cái điều thú vị trên con tàu, nó các toa tàu bao gồm là những cái vùng miền, những cái sự.
All the passengers are different in this train. They come from everywhere.
Một cái xã hội thu nhỏ mà nhìn qua hai bên cửa sổ con tàu là.
It's like Vietnamese society in miniature.
Đất nước và những cái trải nghiệm con người rất là thú vị.
When I was young, I heard my family talk about the railway. I was enthralled. After my studies at the Railways Institute, I had the honor of being able to work for them. I was very moved when, for the first time, I made the journey from the north to the south.
rất chi là vui và rất chi là đáng tự hào với cái nghề.
My train journey ends at Hue, which was the imperial capital of a united Vietnam from 1802 to 1945. The city consists of a complex of buildings, the Citadel, the Forbidden Purple City, and the Imperial enclosure, all dating from the beginning of the 19th century. It took 30 years and 30,000 workers to build this enormous complex. It was a fortress, an imperial palace, and an administrative center. The Meridian Gate is the southern entrance to the Citadel. This citadel contains the imperial enclosure, which in turn encloses the Forbidden Purple City. This vast complex includes temples, royal tombs, and even a fortress inspired by Vauban. Good day. I'm Công Thang Thon Như Tri Hui, a great niece of the Emperor Minh Mang. My father was in charge of protocol at the imperial court. The Nguyen dynasty ruled over an area from the province of Thanh Hoa to Cao Mau. When the Emperor Bao Dai was deposed, I came to the citadel to attend Queen Hoang Thi Kuk, who was the mother of Emperor Bao Dai. I made pillows for the salon and for reading. I made cakes for ceremonies here and in the mausoleums of the imperial family. This place is important for me. It's the family home of my ancestors. The secret of my long life comes from the soul, its goodness. As for the memory of my ancestors, I bow before their altar. My actions come from my heart, from within my very being.
Mà trong thật là nói về
Buddha teaches us, as you sow the seed, so shall you reap the fruit. Hanoi is the capital of Vietnam and the second largest city in the country. Every morning, the red flag is raised. Yet ever since Doi Moi, renovation in Vietnamese, Vietnam has abandoned its communist economy for a more liberal, market-oriented economy and social reforms. The Communist Party is still the ruling party in Vietnam. Its political bureau includes the Secretary General of the party, the President of the Republic, the President of the National Assembly, the Prime Minister, and the Minister of Defense. Hanoi means the city between the rivers. It was founded in 1010 by King Ly Tai To. It was later capital of French Indochina, and then the Democratic Republic of Vietnam, and finally the Socialist Republic of Vietnam. The different influences that the city underwent are reflected in its architecture.
Lịch sử của nền nghệ thuật múa rối nước cổ truyền của dân tộc Việt Nam.
The art of water puppetry is an ancient tradition dating back to the 11th century.
Và đã được ghi trên tấm bia.
It's mentioned on a stone writing tablet at the Tay Temple, or Master's Temple, near Hanoi.
Cái nền nghệ thuật múa rối nước của Việt Nam thì là mô tả đời sống.
Water puppetry centers on the ordinary rural life of the peasants in the delta of northern Vietnam.
Thì được nâng lên thành một nền nghệ thuật múa rối để phục vụ khi mà người khán giả trong nước.
Their daily life, their work and their pastimes.
Nét đặc sắc của nền nghệ thuật múa rối nước Việt Nam thì sẽ hiểu thêm
so that Vietnamese and foreign spectators alike can better understand the traditional culture of Vietnam.
Lao động, sản xuất và vui chơi.
In the water puppet theater repertoire, there's one story that's particularly popular in Vietnam. It's the legend of Ly Loi and the returned sword. The hero of this legend is Ly Loi, the emperor who drove the Chinese invaders from Vietnam in the 15th century. The story begins with King Ly Loi being given a sword by a fisherman who found it in a lake. And thanks to this magical sword, the Chinese are successfully defeated. Some time later, the king crosses the same lake and meets the golden turtle, who reclaims the sword in the name of the Dragon King, the mythical ancestor of the Viet people. Le Loi realizes that the sword had been a mandate of heaven sent to defeat the Chinese. For the communists, this story symbolized the relationship of war and peace for the Vietnamese people, a profoundly peaceful people, but who will wage total war for the good cause. It's also the origin of the divinization of turtles in the region. About 2 hours from Hanoi, up the Nhong Dong River, is the province of Ninh Binh. There are no scooters here, and the only means of transportation is by boat. It's the only way to get to the sites of the region. My name is Lê Thị Duc. I was born and grew up here. I've worked on the boat since the 1980s. But I have many other jobs on the side. As a rice grower, a factory worker, an embroideress, and an oarswoman on a tourist boat.
Nhiều cái công việc như vậy. Vâng, chúng tôi ở đây là chỉ cấy có một vụ thôi.
Here we only have one rice harvest a year.
Toàn phải đi bằng trên thuyền hết.
To get to the fields, we have to use a boat. It's the only way to get around, to transport seeds, tools, or the harvest. Things grow well here. We get along all right. And then there's tourism. That's very profitable. The men go to work in factories and on building sites. Most of the women here work growing rice or as oarswomen. It's less tiring. Anyway, there's not enough work for everyone here. So women have time to take care of their house and children.
Vùng đất đây thì ở cái hang đầu tiên, đây là cái hang đẹp nhất của cái nước Việt Nam này, người ta có cái bài.
Nearby is undoubtedly the most beautiful cave in Vietnam. There's even a poem acclaiming its beauty. It goes like this: beautiful sky, who has drawn here? Of 1,000 caves, this is the most beautiful. Water and mountains together make this majestic land. Oh, this water that flows from the caves, as from the dragon's mouth, in this land caressed by the wind, embraced by the waves, are 1,000 radiant, smiling flowers. The last stage of my journey takes me to the famous A Long Bay. This vast natural marine bay covers more than 40,000 hectares. Its name in Vietnamese, Idin A Long, means descending dragon, in reference to a legend about a mother dragon and her children who were sent by the Jade Emperor to defend the Vietnamese against invaders. The dragon spat out jade and pearls which turned into islands and reefs and blocked the passage of enemy ships. This natural labyrinth has allowed the Vietnamese to rout the Chinese on 3 separate occasions. Today, this is the most visited region of Vietnam. The local population consists mostly of fishermen, sailors, and rice farmers. In conformity with the origins of the Viet people, they live along the numerous beaches and creeks this extraordinary place offers. The bay has been inhabited since prehistory and continues to be a place of trade and exchange, but change has impacted the revenue of the inhabitants. Despite this heavenly setting, tourism and the pollution that it creates have threatened the lifestyle of its inhabitants even on the short term.
Cultivating rice is not any good. The selling price is too low. In my village, everyone's given up growing rice. The fields are just there to maintain the soil. There are a lot of factories now, so there's a lot of work. My son doesn't want to take over from me. That's too bad, but I understand. Young people want job security, social security and a retirement at the end of 20 or 30 years. For example, as the captain of a boat. My son has a good job, but he doesn't work all the time. It depends on the weather. My standards of living have improved since I've been here. Good rice, fresh fish, it's peaceful, no pollution, and the air is clean. Just look at that. The mountains, the sea. It's perfect.
Fishing remains a prosperous activity in the bay, which has a particularly rich ecosystem.
Foreign investors came here with projects for leisure activities and luxury hotels. Beaches here, amusement parks over there. They were very interested. As the government decided to promote these projects, we have to take the indemnities and leave. That's how it is. We have no choice. So they pay. My granddaughter, Trami, lives here with us. In the morning, my son takes her to school by boat. If it's not raining, she takes the water bus to the island. She's happy here, just as happy as can be. My father wants me to work with him, but being the captain of a tourist boat pays a lot more than raising fish. The costs are high and the returns are low. On the other hand, a fish farm can be seen as an investment. For example, if you need a little extra income, then you can sell some fish and have the cash. But commanding a boat earns me a steady salary without any risks. I have a fiancée who lives 2 hours away from here by road, on Cat Ba Island. She's finished her studies and is going to work in a factory. After we marry, our plan is that I stop working on the boat and join her, and we'll both work in the factory. We hope to earn about 10 million dong a month. That's about 430 euros. It's much easier that way.
So here ends my journey across this multifaceted country, a country forged over the centuries and the product of the peoples who built it. Vietnam has chosen to respect its heritage and rich culture, rather than to cede to the temptation of a globalized culture. It has invented its own path to development between tradition and modernity.